Oh, it was great. I had hooked up with Twin Galaxies because of the book that I wrote on Donkey Kong. Um, Actually, I'd wanted to write a book on Pac-Man after getting a score of nearly 3 million back in October of '81, and I finally decided I was going to write a book on Pac-Man. But when I called Bantam Books, they said, "Well, we already have a book under contract for Pac-Man. What other games do you play?" And I said, "Well, I play Donkey Kong." And they said, "How good are you?" What Ben was saying, I didn't really have a way to answer that question. I mean, how could anybody know how good they were compared to the rest of the world? All I knew was how good I was compared to the few arcades that I went to. And so the only way I could answer the question was to say, well, I've got the highest score in all the arcades that I go to. And he said, well, I want you to call Walter Day. And the funny thing about that is, the reason he said call Walter Day was that just 10 days earlier, Walter had sent out a press release, and the Associated Press had picked it up. And video games were such a big deal at that time, 1981, 1982, that his press release, Walter's press release, actually made waves in the media. So much so that this guy at Bantam Books, I keep my scores. So that's what I did. I called Walter. And Walter said to me after the phone call, he said, well, that's the highest score, Donkey Kong score, I've ever heard of. So you've unofficially got the world record. That's what I called Bantam Books back, told them, and they said, oh, great, we want to hire you to write our book on Donkey Kong. So that's how I got hooked up with Twin Galaxies. And then for Life magazine, it was kind of like what he said. It was just fun to be there with the other guys that also were great at video games.
Steve, what month was that Bantam gave you the thumbs up?
February of '82.
Okay. You and I first spoke in July of '82, so about 5 months earlier.
Later, you mean?
Later, sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because Billy and I got hooked up together by Walter. Actually, Walter was the one at some point. I guess it was July of '82 that Walter put Billy and me together.